Hello. A lot of people online have been asking me how it is that I do my kit bashing. For those of you out there who don't know, kit bashing is when you take two or more toys and cut them apart into their component pieces and then reassemble them as either a new toy or just something completely different. Today I'm going to be taking the remaining pieces of I believe it was a 15-inch mandarin spawn that I've cut apart into all of its component pieces, and I'm going to be combining it with a b-daman figure to make a little marble shooting mandarin spawn. It's actually the fourth in a series of kit bashes that I've done. Back here I've got the first three that I've made. I'm going to make a fourth and final one to complete the set. So I'm going to show you up close all the different parts and pieces as I process them and change them in order to make a marble shooting mandarin spawn. Normally kit bashing just requires things like a saw and a file to get things apart, as well as an X-Acto knife and a glue gun for putting everything back together again. That's how you go from something like this to something like this. Now, unfortunately today, mandarin spawn, the parts that I have left are very, very large and very, very thick. So this is going to be very hard to saw through. Some of them don't even have hollow parts. This is just solid plastic, a giant chunk. And I'm going to attempt to be removing the entire skull from the top of this, which is going to be a very, very hard deal. So rather than using the saw, which would probably break the blade, I'm going to be using a drill to hollow out the pieces and get rid of as much of the excess plastic as I can before I start taking it apart. So to start with, on each of these leg pieces, I'm going to be taking the joints, these segmented grills that are on here, and I'm going to be separating as many of them out. Now I expect to lose some of the ones on the in-between, so I expect to get the first one, the middle one, and the last one, but these two are probably going to get killed in the process as I go. Also, I'm going to try and cut off the tips of at least two of these so that I have them as little feet to add to the front of the figure. To make what's going to be the new mandarin spawn head, I'm going to be slicing off the top half of the head and taking the horns and skull from this waist part and placing it over top of it so that I get a new head out of it. I'm also going to be taking the remnants of the sword that I have left and putting these together to make an actual equipped item in his hand. I've got little bits of the cape left that I'm going to cut apart and make cape that's going to be on him. These arm pads I'm going to take off at the wrist to try and cut off all the parts that's underneath here and just have this top gliding piece is what I'm going to try to have remaining from both of these. These are going to be shoulder pads on him. And also this is going to be used on part of the cape. Is going to be this. This is what I'm hoping to have draping down with the cape pieces. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to take out of what's left of his back and chest. This is what held his head in place. I think I'm going to take out this back piece of it and try to figure out if there's some way I can integrate either parts of it or the whole thing. We'll see as I go. Before I drill the piece, I'm going to be putting on eyewear because I don't want anything to be hitting me in the face. Even though I got glasses, things love to work their way around your glasses and still get in your eyes. So wear protection. Just going to use the saw on that now. Then we got the little itty bitty piece that I figure I'm going to be using on his foot as a little toe. So now I'm going to cut up along here. Okay. So each time I'm just going to cut each one, try and get at least 2 of these out of the actual shape itself. Now we've got the separated joint. That's going to have some massive cleanup as I go, getting rid of all the excess bits of whatever hanging off of it. That's what's going to be used for the X-Acto knife. It's going to be cutting that off the joint. So I'm going to keep separating these joints off, and we'll get the rest of them off. So now that I've got it into its individual pieces, I have to take all the ugliness that's on this and then sculpt it out with an X-Acto knife. So now we have a much cleaner piece. Doesn't have all the little chunks hanging off of it. And we'll repeat for each of these 3 here with the knife.